Holy cow. Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and yesterday I put out my thoughts regarding the Zelda movie leaks that people were talking about throughout the weekend. And towards the end of the video I talked about how I was not expecting any major Zelda movie updates for a little while, at least until the release for the Mario Galaxy movie. Well, it appears that I was wrong because Nintendo decided to basically respond to the leaks, and in a way that is pretty incredible, pretty amazing, and quite peak. So it's really exciting, and that's what we're going to be diving into today. And so here it is, the official Nintendo Twitter account. Here, translated in Japanese, this is Miyamoto. We have officially begun filming the live-action movie adaptation, The Legend of Zelda, in the magnificent Great Outdoors, together with Bo Bragison, who plays Zelda, and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, who plays Link. The filming is progressing smoothly, so I would appreciate it if you could quietly watch over us. The theatrical release is scheduled for May 7th, 2027. Please wait just a little longer. Now, this is a translation, so, you know, maybe there's some differences with what they actually intend. And so we check here with their own actual English version that they provided, and it's pretty much exactly the same. The only real big difference is, well, here they say, in a lush, natural setting, and then they also say down here, it will take a while until the release, so we would be grateful if you could wait patiently and look forward to it. So the wording here at the end about asking us to wait patiently, looking forward to it, given that they've posted this early Monday, and these leaks happened throughout the weekend, I think they may have actually put this out there, perhaps because of the leaks that happened over the last couple days here. And for those who missed that, we actually got some footage that we saw of Princess Zelda and Link in the filming, as well as someone who appears to be playing Impa. This actress has apparently done a great job in shows like Severance, and we've also gotten a look at what appears to be Epona, and then other horses that have the Hylian symbol. So it seems to suggest that yes, this is a Kingdom of Hyrule that has been established. Zelda is going to have an Impa that's very much like the Impa from perhaps Ocarina of Time, because she is in her relative youth, in her prime, where she can function as a warrior, side by side, protecting and guiding Zelda during an established Kingdom of Hyrule. Some people have made the comparison to also Impa from Skyward Sword, and there's certainly similarities there as well, but I personally lean more towards Ocarina of Time simply because Impa from Skyward Sword was before a Kingdom of Hyrule was formed, and Impa from Ocarina of Time is actually an attendant to Princess Zelda. She directly works for the royal family. There was not a royal family in the time of Skyward Sword. Either way, we got those leaks over the weekend, and Nintendo has responded with this message here and some really great photos of both Princess Zelda and Link. And I mean, I love what we're seeing here. It looks fantastic. Something that some people have pointed out, you look here, if you look carefully, I'll zoom in a little bit more, there are actually like a whole bunch of Triforces along her dress. From the leaked footage, it just looked like a blue cotton dress, like nothing too special. But up close, it looks very detailed. It looks like a royal garb, and yet, despite that, even though she's wearing some sort of royal garb, she still is dressed to go adventuring, very much like Breath of the Wild. And she even has a very ornate looking bow here, so this could be some sort of reference towards the light bow and just her royalty. It may just be like a really nice fancy bow because she is from the royal family. Like, there's actually triangles all over her clothing. The more I look at it now, like you see here, there's golden triangles along the strap. Even her belt has triangles too. So that's extremely interesting. She even has the braids just like from Princess Zelda of Breath of the Wild. So yeah, I think there's definitely some inspiration being taken here from Princess Zelda of Breath of the Wild. Actually, look, even on her boots, you can see the Hylian crest. So that is super cool. Like, very clearly, she is dressed as someone from the royal family. Obviously, this is Princess Zelda, and we already know that she is Princess Zelda. And I'm going to point out one other little interesting detail here. There's something here, some sort of purse or something she's holding, And this could be interesting because it could perhaps be something that she uses to store important items that they may be finding throughout their journeys here, because after all, this is the Legend of Zelda, right? So at least they're gonna have rupees at some point, and I imagine there may be some sort of secret gem or treasures they need to find, perhaps the Triforce itself, in an effort to stop the evil forces of Ganon, or Ganondorf, we'll see. But then we also have a Link here. We get a great look at Link, and we already saw from the leaks that Link is going to be using his green tunic, and we see that here, but we see a little bit of some of those designs. It's very tattered, very worn, so there's a clear distinction between the two. Link is been out in the wild, right? There's a lot of wear and tear there, while Princess Zelda is very nicely garbed with some royal clothing, so there's an interesting difference there. But this is Green Tunic Link, and the way it looks, it draws most inspiration seemingly from Twilight Princess, so that's very cool. Now, something that people may not be noticing here, if you look carefully on this shoulder, it does look like there's some sort of extra cloth or cloak, perhaps. You see it here. It's actually draped over his knee as well, and from the leak we did see that there is some sort of cloak he puts on that's green that does cover his head like in a hood, very much like the hood we see from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. So that's interesting. Now, something else to point out is that they changed his hair to be like a dirty blonde, it looks like. He does also have the long pointy ears. They're Hylian, so of course. Some people are wondering if we are going to see the green pointy cap. I'm not sure. They might be using the hood to basically replace that. We'll see. I think that if they don't use the green pointy hat, that may upset some people because that's been such a big part of Link's design for so many years. Not in Breath and Tears, but the fact that they're going back to the green tunic look, it definitely has me wondering, I'm sure many others, if we're going to see the cap as well. We'll see. I want to say that it would make sense to at least show it at some point or another, because if they're going to go through the trouble to go back to Green Tunic Link, bring back this iconic look, which we've theorized Nintendo's going to be reminding us of throughout the 40th anniversary of Zelda next year, like with the Ocarina of Time Lego set and perhaps more, maybe some game releases, we'll see, that it would make sense to see the cap of the green tunic also be there as well. Now, something I'm thinking about though is that perhaps the reason why they might not use the cap is because from a functional perspective, it just flies off, right? So, I mean, they could probably find a way to fix that if they really wanted to, I'm sure, but also maybe it just looks odd or awkward. So that's also a possibility, but I think they should at least put it on at one point or another. Like, even if it's not going to be on for most of the movie, have it on at some point. I think that would be really cool. Of course, we'll see. Now, we look at Princess Zelda again, right? Actually, let's scroll down because we see like a nice up-close shot of Princess Zelda here. Really, really beautiful picture. Here we can actually see the green triangles a lot more clearly. This is awesome. I think she looks absolutely stunning, amazing, love the look. And then with Link here, I really like this look too. I was wondering if he was going to maybe be too young for the look. He does look a little bit older than the initial photos we saw. Still clearly young, but the expression that he's putting together here, I think is actually a great depiction of how Link would be. Like, I get the sense that this is a stoic character who does not speak much, which is who Link is. Link is one who does not talk much. Now, will he talk in the movie? I think he has to, but keeping it limited, having this stoic personality, I definitely think that's the right way to go, and this expression here seems to lend itself towards that. So I have full faith here that they are doing the right things for the movie. I always have, because I don't think Nintendo would have greenlit this project if they didn't have the confidence that they would be able to make a great movie that would represent the Zelda series well. And this is something that I think a lot of people have really missed because they're just used to a lot of companies really messing up things with their characters and such. The most important asset to Nintendo are their characters, their IP, their game series. And this is why they're super annoying about like taking fan games and different things like this down, because they're super protective of it. So on one hand, it may be a bad thing for fan games and things of that nature, but on the other, it does also mean that they're not going to greenlight a project that's going to tarnish the brand and name of one of their most important series, The Legend of Zelda. There's a reason we went decades without a proper Nintendo movie, and it's because of this. But now Nintendo's found a way where they feel comfortable moving forward with these movie projects, and that's why Miyamoto has been so closely tied to the Mario movie and also the Zelda movie, and they were working on the scripting for this for a very long time. So I'm not worried about this at all. Wes Ball actually is responsible for the most recent 8's movie, which I thought was fantastic, by the way. So I'm not really concerned about the quality here, and everything we're seeing is, I think, really representative of a great direction and understanding of what a Zelda movie would need. By the way, this is being filmed in New Zealand, and there's a lot of talk that they're going to do a trilogy, which definitely has people thinking Lord of the Rings-esque. I don't think we should assume it's going to feel exactly like Lord of the Rings, but I'm also sure there's going to be some level of inspiration there. After all, Twilight Princess, the Zelda game that came out back in 2006, was actually heavily inspired by the Lord of the Rings. The movies of that series came out just a few years beforehand, and we do see the design for Link is most closely resembling that of Twilight Princess. And they're also filming it in New Zealand, like the Lord of the Rings movies, and supposedly they're aiming for a trilogy, which is also like the Lord of the Rings movies. That part is unconfirmed. We'll see what happens. It may largely depend on just how successful the movie is, but I'm pretty sure Nintendo is very confident that it's going to be extremely successful, and I think so as well. Will it review well? I think that's where there's more debate to be had. You look at the Mario movie did not review well, but I also think they never were trying to make it a critical darling. I think the intent with the Mario movie was always to make it something that was very digestible, very fast-paced, that would appeal to a very broad audience, and a lot of children, and they would throw in a lot of references so Nintendo fans, and specifically Mario fans, would be able to appreciate, which is exactly what they did. Nintendo fans loved it, it appealed to a very large audience, a lot of families got involved, and the movie became one of the most successful animated movies of all time. So Nintendo went in with a particular direction, and they succeeded. They weren't aiming to make it a critical darling. This live-action Zelda movie, on the other hand, I think is going to be treated a little bit differently, as we can see. I think they're going for more of an ambitious, epic kind of adventure, which may lend itself more towards being kind of like a critical darling, where critics look at the movie and are like, oh, that's pretty great. Kind of like Lord of the Rings. Again, though, I'm not saying that they're going to make this a Lord of the Rings movie with Zelda characters. I don't think it's going to be quite like that, but simply based off the photos we've seen, it does look like they're going to be adventuring around. Now, if you've gone this far into the video, I would like to point out that I do have this goal to reach 60,000 subscribers, so if you find yourself enjoying my videos, I would very much appreciate your support. Subscribing, liking, hyping, it all makes a huge difference. But continuing on here, we are seeing Link and Zelda out here like this, but I'm not sure this means they are going to be adventuring around for the entire movie. I think this is a shot that was intended to be made to show off to the public at some point, and so that's what they have done. Now, was this meant to be shown today, or did they release these photos earlier because of the leaks that transpired over the last couple days? It's hard to say for sure. The timing is highly coincidental though, so I'm kind of led to believe that this may have been a little bit of a response to the leak. I do have to believe that Link and Zelda are going to work together at some point, but I don't actually suspect that they're going to be adventuring around for the entire movie. After all, from the film, the leak stuff, we see that Princess Zelda is actually traveling alongside Impa and a royal family company, so I don't think that Link is going to be there the entire time, although it's possible maybe there's some sort of inciting incident where she is traveling alongside them early on, something happens where they're attacked by the forces of Ganon, and Link, who's just coincidentally nearby, saves the princess, and they have to travel alongside together while the lands of Hyrule are being ravaged by the forces of Ganon, and they have to find a way to get her back to the royal family or something and reunite with Impa. Like, maybe there's some sort of story like that. But my main point here is that I think it's already pretty clear that the journey's not going to start off with them together. They're going to meet at some point in the movie. That's the most likely situation, which I think is going to be pretty cool, because usually the moment Link and Zelda meet in every Zelda game, it's kind of like a big special moment. It doesn't happen immediately, so I imagine that's also going to be a big special moment in the movie. Now, believe it or not, there's actually something else here that I want to speak on that I've noticed that I think is very interesting. So, zooming in here on Princess Zelda's pendant, you're gonna notice that she has, like, this necklace here, has little rings, and there might be like a little triangle, triforce right there. Hard to say for sure, but it looks kind of like it. However, there is like a blue little pendant here, almost kind of shaped like a tear maybe, or like a little rock, which honestly is reminding me of the pirate's charm that Link and Zelda used to communicate with each other from the event of the Wind Waker. So, I would not be surprised if there's some item like this, this is based off the Gossip Stone, where Zelda's actually able to communicate with, say, maybe Impa throughout the course of the adventure, thanks to this little charm or Gossip Stone necklace that she's wearing. It's at least a reference in my opinion, but I think it could be actually something that functions within the story as some sort of communicator. Let's keep in mind, they're not going to have cell phones in this, right? So having a stone like this that allows her to communicate with someone else across a vast distance is going to be kind of a big deal. Maybe even at some point later on into the story, after Link and Zelda are journeying together, they get to a point where they have to separate, and Princess Zelda gives Link a Gossip Stone or the Pirate's Charm. It probably won't be called the Pirate's Charm in this movie. That way they can communicate with each other, which would then be a Wind Waker reference, and I expect that this movie is going to have references to all sorts of Zelda games. Not just Twilight Princess, not just Breath of the Wild, but many different Zelda games. Like the Mario movie, an amalgamation. Will there be one game that seems to stand out above all the others? That's a possibility. We look at the Mario Galaxy movie, but I think with the foundational movie, the first movie, it's more so about showing the world what The Legend of Zelda is all about. So going back to Green Tunic Link is very important. That's what we expected. That's what's been confirmed. So cool stuff. I'm definitely looking forward to more. I do kind of think that this was in response to leaks that happened over the last few days. I wasn't expecting news this soon, but hey, we got it, and it's pretty awesome. But what do you all think? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I will see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.